You okay?
Yeah, onions.
Take a second.
Okay.
All right.
Hi y'all, I'm Sarah from Foreign and Domestic in Austin, Texas, and today I'm going to show you 5 essential knife cuts that you need to know at home. Stay tuned. Before I start showing you guys how to make these cuts, we're going to talk about how to hold the knife properly. A lot of times you'll see people that are inexperienced hold their knife really far back on the handle, maybe because they're terrified of being next to the blade, but it's super important to hold it very close to the blade. You can see how I've got it pinched very close in. I've got my knuckle curled around the spine of the knife, and then on the bottom you can see I've got 3 fingers firmly on the handle. My thumb is pinching, so I've got a good firm grip on this knife and I can take it anywhere I want, and I'm always in control of the knife. The first cut I'm going to show you guys is the slice. You want to start by, of course, taking the peel off, so you top and bottom. Once you've got the top and bottom off, you're going to cut your onion in half. The onion is rounded. It has all these beautiful layers. We're going to start very low, almost parallel to the board, and follow the shape of the onion. Your tip is still touching the board for part of it, but you're going to be a little bit more up in the air. And we're just going to go through. I'm still rocking, just at a slightly different angle, and I'm going to adjust all the way up the onion. Always have your knuckles in. This blade is resting on my knuckles here, and I know that my fingertips are not under the knife. And then when I get to the top, I'm still going to roll it because I like to have more control over the onion, and it's easier for me to follow the shape of the onion from this side than it is on the back side. And that's the slice. You would use this when you want to get something very finely incorporated into your recipe. So a great example is garlic. Garlic's an amazing flavor, but you don't want a lot of it in each bite. You just want it nicely incorporated. The first thing we want to do is get the peels off of this garlic, just like the onion. You don't want that paper in your food. So a common technique is to smash it, which is going to release these peels, and you're going to use the side of your knife for that. I'm going to angle the blade down so that I'm not slamming my hand on that blade, and we're just going to give it a good crush. So you can see that now our clove is pretty easy to peel. On the end here we have this little nub. You're going to want to take that off. Again, I'm keeping the tip of my knife on the board. I've got my knuckles curled, and we're just going to slice through the garlic. I'm rocking, I'm using the length of the blade. When I get to the very end of the garlic, I'm going to roll it over so that I've got a more steady, flat side on the board, and then I'm going to keep slicing. I'm just going to kind of bunch these together with my fingers, and I'm going to keep making sure I've got my fingers out of the way. And I'm just going to slice one direction. I'm going to start the mince now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move my hand definitely out of the way because we're going to move a little faster on this. And I'm going to add some support from the top of the knife. I've got 3 fingers on the spine. The tip will be on the board again, and we're going to rock, but we're letting that tip come up at this point. So I'm just lifting and rocking, I'm stabilizing with this hand. And you can even loosen a little bit your pinch and just hold with those 2 fingers to get some more agility. Most important thing is I'm keeping all of my fingers out of the way of that blade. So anytime you're mincing, you're going to have some spread because obviously we're moving things around. You can take your knife and just very gently, you don't want to put your blade too harshly at this angle, move everything back together and just regroup. So it looks like we've got a pretty fine mince here that'll incorporate well into any recipe. What a dice is getting your pieces into a uniform shape. This potato is large right now, and right now if we try to throw it in the soup, it's going to overcook on the outside, and then on the inside it's not going to be cooked in time. So we want to take it down to a smaller size that can cook uniformly. And my goal here is to make a cube or a rectangular shape with squared off edges. That's a great base for a dice. All right, so we've got this into a cube, we've got some squared off edges, and we're gonna start our dice. So we're gonna go about an 1/8 inch and we're gonna make a slice first. For this technique, I love using the nikiri knife. It's got a flattish edge, just enough roundness that I can work with it still, but it allows me to have control over those straight cuts. So I've got 3 slices here. They're all about 1/8 inch. I'm gonna now flip them, and I'm gonna go 1/8 inch the other direction, making sure to use my knife to tighten it up and keep them all in a stack. Potatoes like to slide around. Now I'm gonna go 1/8 inch the other direction. So I'm keeping this in a nice tight bundle, but making sure to keep my fingers out of the way still. And that is the smallest of the dices, the brunoise. All right, so we've got 4 sizes of dice here on the potato. Your brunoise is gonna cook very quickly, your small dice is gonna take a little bit longer, and then your medium a little bit longer, and your large is gonna take quite a while to cook. The reason it's important to have these uniform cuts is you wouldn't want to try to cook this brunoise alongside the large dice, or you would have a raw potato and a very overcooked potato. Best described as like a matchstick cut. It's great in slaws, it's great in salads, and even in some soups like pho. I'm gonna cut these carrots like we would for a salad. So I don't want a huge julienne piece of carrot in my salad. I want a small, manageable bite. And now these carrots roll. So what we wanna do is square them off a little bit. I'm just gonna take 1 slice, and that makes a much more stable base. When we julienne, we wanna go about 1/8 inch, just like a brunoise. To julienne, I've chosen a santoku. The great things about santokus are that they have this nice flat edge, kind of like the nikiri. They've still got a point to work with if I need it, and then they have this beautiful scalloped edge. The scallops help to release the vegetables while you're cutting. So now we've got our little planks of carrot, about 1/8 inch thick, and then we're gonna go about 1/8 inch the other way. And that's how you julienne. The chiffonade is great for taking these large leaves and turning them into small strips that are easy to incorporate evenly throughout your recipe. I've removed the leaves from the stem because you don't want that stem in there. We're going to stack them neatly, trying to line up as closely as we can the bases of the leaf. You're going to lay them flat and tidy. You're just going to roll them up as tightly as you can, but you also don't want to crush the leaf, so be careful. We're going to take the knife and just take a little bit off the end so that we have a nice uniform roll to start with. We're going to flatten it gently, and we're going to slice as thinly as we can, making sure to keep our knuckles curled and our fingertips out of the way. We're going to use the length of the blade so that we don't crush our leaves. You're going to want a very sharp knife for this as well. So now we'll do the same thing with the mint. So with mint, you've got a lot of different sizes of leaves. I'm going to take the largest leaf and put it on the bottom, kind of like a blanket for my roll. And then I'm going to progressively go smaller to the middle of the stack. This is going to keep those small leaves from moving around as much. So now that I've got them all stacked, with the largest on the outside, I'm going to very gently, because mint is very delicate, roll it up nice and tight without crushing it. And I'm going to take off the edge so that it's nice and uniform. And then again, we're going to just keep our knuckles curled and our fingertips out of the way and very finely slice using the length of our blade. This is going to do wonders for your recipes. So that's it. Those are the 5 most essential knife cuts that you need to know as a home chef. I hope I've made this easy and accessible. I'm Sarah from Foreign and Domestic in Austin, Texas, and we'll see you next time.